Hi everyone, good evening. Okay, so today we'll talk about Azure backups. So we'll talk about Azure backups. So what is a backup? What is the reason to take the backup? If anything goes wrong with your virtual machines of it may be your database, then your application is not going to work. You want it to be restored, right? So right now in our mobile also we have photos. So we have an option to upload it to the Google Photos. It's like a backup. Even though in your local phone it is get deleted, then we can able to restore it back from the Google Photos. Same way WhatsApp also, it is going to be stored inside the Google Drive. Whatever the email ID you provide, it is going to store inside the Google Drive. And daily at some time, maybe by default whatever it is configured, it is going to be trigger some backup. And it will take the backup to the Google Drive. You can restore whenever, if you delete WhatsApp, and or else in your new phone, if you install WhatsApp, if you provide your number, then it will ask, this is your email ID, you want to restore it from the backup. That is an advantage, you can restore it, right? So same way here also, backup is very important. So how we are going to take the backup? So before, like, we talk about in the cloud level, in the traditional data center, how it used to have the backup. So in the traditional data center also, we have different machines, like we have virtual machines and we have physical machines. Like physical machines is for the database, and virtual machines is for some applications. Web applications are going to run on the virtual machines, and databases are going to run on the physical servers, because it needs more resources. So it cannot run, it can run on the virtual machine, but because of the lot of transactions, the virtual machine resources are not sufficient. That's why they used to prefer dedicated physical server for the database. So how they are going to take the backup into the traditional data center? So in the traditional data center, we used to have a backup tools called a Veritas Net Backup, and Commvault backup tools we were using in the traditional data center. How? There will be one backup server will be there, and inside your environment, and inside this backup server, this main tool is going to run as a backup server. The agents of this, for example, if you take Veritas Net Backup, the agent is going to run all the machines, each and every virtual machines, even physical machines. This will be like a, we call it as an OS hardening. Whenever you build as a Linux administrator, as a Windows administrator, you build the servers. During that time, these are like called OS hardening, means what are the prerequisite softwares are there, those needs to be installed at the time of a build of servers itself. So you need to install these uh, tools, and whenever the application is installed and configured, then backup team will contact you, means Linux team or Windows team. This in this new server, what are the files or partitions you want to take the backup? So if it is Linux server, once you install the tool, in the tool configuration, you are going to define the file systems. Like in the Linux, whenever you create some file systems, like for slash apps, slash data, which contains application data. So these file systems we are going to define inside that configuration files, so that this master server is going to take the backup of those VMs of specific these applications. Same way database also is going to be configured, but database taking of backup and application backup is different. Like database backup, you cannot take it as like a flat files. It will take like some binaries also needs to be configured. So where they call it's like a RMAN backup, some different terminologies are there. With the help of that, they are going to take the backup of the database. And application, like flat files they are going to take, and this master server is going to take the backup. Means take the backup means what? Again, this master server will be connected to a tape library. In the back end, this will be connected to a tape library. Like how you have a storage machine, what storage will do? Storage will allocate the storage to this machines. For example, if this machine want 200 GB SSD drives, from storage it is going to be allocated. These are called SSD drives, and from there it is going to be allocated to each and every virtual machine. For each virtual machine, it needs 16 GB, 20 GB, whatever they want. So based upon this physical server capacity, again, there is no space, no storage is available, then from the storage, it is going to be allocated. This is called storage. And this is called tape library. So inside this tape library, all the tapes will be available. So whenever you take the backup, it is going to be backed up to this tapes. So daily when the backup is completed, that tapes is going to be removed. Again, they are going to keep a new tapes, and the tapes will be labeled. And once the backup is completed, where they are going to keep the tapes, those tapes will be not within the data center, in the traditional data center. There will be some other third party companies will be there. From there, daily one person used to come and he will pick up the tapes, and he is going to give the new tapes. So here, for how long they are going to maintain in their location. So once some XYZ company is going to bring the tapes, and they are going to take the existing tapes of these backups. So they are going to keep it with them. Why? Because if you are keeping the tapes also in your data center, if something due to any nature disaster or any fire accident, if your data center is having problem, your data is also lost. So that's the reason we'll keep the tapes in some other company with a secured way. So for how long they are going to store, whatever the retention period you will define. Retention period means what? For how long you want. For example, today, tomorrow is like June 1st. June 1st backup, if you take from the machine, how long you want it. If you mention 30 days, then 30 days it is going to be available. Mean June 1st tapes will be available till June 31st. So on August 1st, what happens? They are going to bring that tapes because it's no more required. June 31st data is not required now. So whatever the retention period is configured based on that agreement, they are going to have 1 month, 2 months, 180 days, depend upon the company's agreements. So they are going to have. So June 31st, on August 1st, they are going to bring June 31st tapes, and they are going to give it to them. Like they'll erase and they'll clean it and then give it as a new tapes. So again from August 1st, same way it is going to happen. So this is how the backup is going to be scheduled, and it is going to be sent it to the different locations. Now, among these backup tools, this Commvault is also very famous, and Veritas Net Backup is also very famous. Previously, we used to have a separate jobs, like before this cloud or DevOps comes into the picture. Like these are called as an infrastructure jobs, like Linux admin, Windows admin, Oracle DBA, this net backup, and who are managing SAN storage. These all used to call as an infrastructure admins. Without having any programming and knowledge also, we used to get jobs on these technologies. So Veritas Net Backup also, there will be separate backup team who will manage this backup server tapes. So sometimes backup will fail, they will check the failed jobs, again they will re-trigger. Everything is going to happen. Whenever if something happens to your VM, like accidentally you deleted some files, so they are going to, we are going to ask them like um, on which date you want. They will tell, they will check in their dashboard, in the Veritas dashboard, and they'll check, okay, for this mission this was the last backup was available. So if the tape is available in the data center, they will able to restore it, or else they will raise a request to them, and then next day, based upon the SLA, they will bring the tapes to the data center, and then they are going to insert into the tape library, then they'll initiate the restore. This is how the procedure will be. Okay. So in this backup terminology, we have a concept called RTO and RPO. Okay, recovery time objective and recovery point objective. So what does it mean, recovery time objective? Means whenever you are restoring, how much time it is going to take, recovery time. Again, it depends upon the data. Okay, how much data is there, based on that it will be decided. And second thing, it will be decided based upon what type of backup it was. So you need to remember there are multiple backups. One is full backup, incremental backup, and a differential backup. So what kind of backup, based on that also it will be decided whether the recovery time object, how much, for example 4 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, based upon the data and based upon what type of backup. So how it differs based upon what type of backup will impact the recovery time objective, that you need to understand. So I hope everyone knows full backup. Actually I don't have any screenshots, I mean diagrams. Let me search different full backup Veritas full backup. Just we'll check in the images if we find any nice diagram. We don't use the synthetic word, we just use full backup. Or else full backup. What is this V? Nice diagrams. See, based on the diagram itself, people can understand easily. So diagram is very very important. What kind of diagram we are choosing? You want me to search with Veeam backup or okay, Veeam full backup. Okay, anyhow, I'll draw it. I'm not getting exact what I'm expecting. So full backup means easily you can understand. Like for example, uh, today, if your file system, if it is taking file system like D drive file system, it is 1 GB, 1 GB of storage. Then completely the full backup will be completely. It is going to take the full backup. So in the back end, in one disk, it is going to have the full backup. And day two, along with this 1 GB, some other data has been added. So total it became as a 2 GB. So then again, next day also, you are taking full backup. Then this is also full backup. Then 2 GB full backup it is going to take. And this is also and separate disk. So this is one disk, this is one disk, and same way third day, along with this 2 GB, some other new data has also have been added, and this is like 4 GB total it became, and now 4 GB. This is also on single disk, complete data you are taking, right? And same way like fifth day, sixth day, or seventh day, something like this. Assume this is Monday, and this is Tuesday, and this is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So something like this. So Monday it is a full backup. Second day also from the previous 1 GB, along with that additional 1 GB data, new data has been added. So this is also taken as a full backup. Same way, daily the data is increasing and it is going to have the full backup. So this is the complete backup. So now the problem with this, every day if it is a full backup means what are the previous data? For example, here previously it was 9 GB, and now Saturday it became, let's say, 10 GB. Additional 1 GB has been added, but you are going to have all the full data. So you are using lot of disk, in the sense the data unnecessarily here also available, here also available, everything it is available. But recovery time is very less. Why? Because you are going to use only single data, single disk. Whenever something goes wrong, if you want to restore, whichever day you want to restore, let's say if it occurred on Thursday, then you are going to bring Wednesday backup and you are going to restore single disk. You are going to ask them and you are going to insert and you are going to restore it. But the problem is backup time is huge. Whenever you are taking a backup, obviously there will be a performance impact on your server, because it is taking the backup every day. Full backup means every day if it is taking everything, then obviously the time is going to be increased. So if the time is increasing, your server is going to impact performance issues. So that's why this backup will be scheduled non-business hours, during night, or whenever there is a less traffic to the server, that time it will be scheduled. But unnecessary it is taking this much of storage capacity is increasing, right? So here storage capacity keep on will increase. Storage in the sense the tapes capacity will keep on increasing. Increase in the sense the size of that capacity is increasing. That is a disadvantage every day if you take the full backup. Okay. And the incremental backup is what? Incremental backup, I think for incremental backup we'll have mm, mm, mm. Okay, incremental backup means whatever the new changes is going to happen from that server, like first day it will be, obviously it should be a full backup. First day it should be a full backup. Second day onwards, second day backup will be incremental. And that, what does mean incremental? Whatever the changes from yesterday, only those things will be into the incremental backup. Understood? So here what it's going to take the backup, yesterday there is like 1 GB of data is there. Apart from that, some new data has been added, or any existing files has been modified. Those changes only will be taken inside this incremental backup. Not everything, not the old data. Whichever is the new data or anything has been modified, the existing data, that only will be considered as a backup. So this way, every day you are taking incremental backup this way. So whatever the changes are there, only those will be coming inside this. But the problem here is, let's say on Saturday you want to restore, then you should have all these disks. Without this, if anything is missing, then you cannot able to restore. You should have full backup, this day's backup, this day's backup, because does not contain this information. This does not contain this information. So that's why whatever the changes are there, only it is available. The size is reducing, the capacity storage tape capacity is reducing, but the problem is whenever you are restoring, you should have all these disks. A full backup should be available, and all is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all these disks should be available. That is the difference. What is the disadvantage here? RTO will be high, means you need to insert one tape, restore it, remaining tape, insert it and restore it. This way you need to restore everything. If you want to restore completely everything you want to restore, then you need to have all the disks. So RTO will increase. Okay, so that's the reason. But in real time, most of the times they'll configure incremental backups only. Again, it depends how they want to configure. And same way, differential backup. So differential backup is like full backup. Okay, and so here you are going to have one full whatever the remaining data is there, it is going to take the backup. But every time you are going to use the two disks, means third day it is not going to take only whatever the new has been added. So yesterday whatever there, from there it is going to take into the backup. So end of the day, only you need to have only two disks. One is full backup and another one is the whatever the full backup we took on the first day, and the remaining on the last day whatever the backup we have taken, everything is going to be like, apart from full backup, whatever it is going to be there, every time it is going to take the complete data, remaining data. So for example, this is 1 GB is there, and second day it's 2 GB, the remaining 1 GB it is going to take. Third day, apart from full backup, whatever is there, everything it is going to be taken into the backup. So whenever you want to restore, you should have full backup, and the whenever the last backup was done, that disk is enough. So only 2 disks are enough for the differential backup. But mostly companies less preference is this one. They'll go with the full backup and incremental backup itself. So this is how in traditional data center companies used to configure to restore like application or database, or something happens to the data center, again you want to start your business. See, something completely collapsed. If you create new servers, you want to start your business, everything can be restored. That will also possible. Or due to any reason, database has been corrupted, then again you want to restore the database. That is how they are going to restore. And recovery point objective means what? Like daily, for example, 3 a.m. backup is scheduled for one server, and daily next day 3 a.m. again it will be backup will be triggered. But before backup triggered in this current day, for example 10 p.m. there is some issue, server got crashed, everything has been deleted, you want to restore. So when you have the tape, it is available yesterday's tape, like which is got triggered at 3 a.m. From 3 a.m. to 10 p.m. how many hours? 3 to 12, 7 and to 9, 9 plus 10, 21 hours. 21 hours data you are not going to restore because that is not available. So whatever this is missing, that is called a recovery point objective. Means how much data is missing, up to what point you are going to restore. So you are going to restore at till last yesterday's 3 a.m. data only you can able to restore, because that is the time it was triggered the backup. From that point, whenever it got crashed, whatever this time is there, right, that is called a recovery point objective. Till what point of time you can able to recover. So that is what it is going to mention. So these are the terminologies of the backups. Okay, so this is how we need to learn about the backup. The same thing is applied to the Azure also. So now we'll go and talk about Azure. This is till now we are discussing in general on-premises data center, and now we need to understand Azure backup. So now for on-premises companies also, even though they don't have anything running inside the cloud, just because for the backup also they can create cloud services and they can start copying to this location. Why? Because in the on-premises data center, why they have created, why they are giving service to this XYZ company? Because this is called as an offsite location for them. For this data center, this is offsite location. That's why instead of keeping tapes here, they are keeping in this company. Now the same thing is providing by the cloud also. Even though you don't run your applications, databases, nothing is in the cloud, but still just because of the backup services also, you can take the Azure or whatever another cloud vendors also you can go with. Instead of using this feature, you can use cloud, because this is also called offset location for you, because we are copying this data into Azure cloud, and we have more features, because here instead of one region you can have in multiple regions replication. Even in cloud also, if something goes wrong uh, in one location in one particular region, still your backup is available in another region, more facilities are available. So on premises can use cloud services for the backup service at least. So here if we go, what can I backup, what can I backup? On premises backup files, folders, systems state using the Microsoft Azure Recovery Services Mars agent, or use the DPM or Azure Backup Server agent to protect on-premises VMs like Hyper-V and VMware and other on-premises workloads. Okay, so and Azure VMs, Azure Managed Disks, Azure File Shares, SQL Server in Azure VMs, SAP HANA. Okay, so here what we can take the backup from this Azure Backup, Azure VMs means If you are already using Azure cloud, you have VMs in the Azure, you can take the backup of Azure VMs. Or else if you have an environment in the on premises, you can create a backup and you can take the backup of the on premises VMs also. And Azure managed disks, if you remember, when we create Azure VMs, we allocate a managed disk. Already on that day we discussed what is the difference between managed disk and unmanaged disk. Managed disks means Azure is providing us from their storage account, we are just using it. Unmanaged disk means we need to create storage account, we need to create the disk and we need to attach to the VMs. So here you can take the backup of a managed disk, means whatever the disks you are allocating to the VMs, separately also they are providing features. Azure file shares. So file share is also, what is the purpose of that? We'll take new one. File sharing means what? You create one storage and share it to multiple VMs. So this VM is storing data, it will store here, this VM can store here, this VM can store here, and this drive you are going to share it to multiple VMs. So this kind of storage services also they are going to take the backup, because if something goes wrong with this one, then again we don't have data, right? Because managed disk, what managed disk is providing by the Azure to the VMs. So you can take the backup of individual disks which are attached to the VM. But these are file shares. You create one file share, Azure file share, and mount it to, we discussed through Samba SMB we can attach to the Windows servers, through NFS we can attach to the Linux servers. So if that way you are attaching to the machines, then what are the data is storing here, this device also you can take the backup, Azure file share. That is what they are providing. And SQL server in Azure VMs, backup SQL server databases running on. So what are the database? VMs means application servers, SQL servers means databases also you can take the backup. And SAP HANA, it's we are not going to deal with it. And Azure database for Postgres. Azure SQL is their own database, and PostgreSQL servers also they are going to provide the backup. Okay. So now always you need to remember, uh, if this is mentioned, like let me copy, or especially these two topics. Now on-premises backup files, folders, system state using the Microsoft Azure Recovery Services Mars agent means what? On-premises, when you take this on-premises server like some VM, and this is Azure cloud, from here you want to take the backup of this VM. Now what you need to install, you need to install a tool called Mars, Microsoft Azure Recovery Services. Mars agent should be installed on this machine, and here you are going to create a recovery vault. Okay, so in this recovery vault we are going to provide credentials. Once you install this Mars agent over here, we configure it, then this machine will know that okay, we have a backup server inside the Azure. Then you can schedule backup when you want, and at that time it will go and take the backup. But this is possible only on Windows server, not on Linux servers is not possible, this feature, this installing Mars, because this is specifically the Windows server. And one more option is like, if you have hundreds of servers on your on-premises, you want to take the backup of hundreds of servers, then we don't follow this method, Mars method. Why? Because every machine you will install Mars, and you are establishing connection with this recovery vault, and it is going to take the backup. So how it will be, like 100 connections are going to be established in every machine, agent is going to run from there, it will try to connect to this recovery vault, and they are going to take the backup. Instead of that, what they suggest, in this on-premises data center create one backup server, and inside that install with the maps. So Mars is a agent which will install on each and every machine, and Maps is what? Azure Backup Server. Backup server means this acts like a backup server, and locally they'll install with the Mars, and everything will be backed up to here. And this from here we are going to single server we are going to take, and we are going to back up here. That is how it is possible. If you have multiple servers, hundreds of servers, 50s of servers, you want to take backup to the cloud, so don't establish 50 connections to the cloud backup. First locally install this, and they are going to provide this software. Azure is going to provide this software. You need to connect to it, and your VMware, Hyper-V and VMware and other on-premises workloads will be backed up, and from there this cloud is going to be taken as a backup. This is how on-premises, this is two types. And in the Azure also, and again, if you talk about Azure VMs, Azure VMs also we can take two types of backups. What it is? One is like, if you remember, whenever we create VM, at that time we'll get an option at the management tab. Once we select basic information, networking, and after that we'll get management option. There we'll have a, you want to configure backup your server. If you configure that, then whenever if the machine is having problem, you can restore with that backup. That is one type of backup. There is another type of backup. Same this Mars tool you can install inside your VM, inside your Azure VM, and you can take files and shares. Means I want specific file to take as a backup, I want to take specific directory as a backup, so that you can able to restore. Or else you want to take the complete file system D drive, and whenever you want to restore only single file from the particular D drive also, that is also possible. That is another type of taking of the backup. For that you to install this Mars agent inside this Windows VMs. Okay, otherwise it's a full backup. Means what? Full backup in the sense, whenever you configure your VM and you want to take this VM as a backup, then you don't have option to restore only specific file, specific directory. That is not possible. Completely everything whatever was inside that VM, everything will be available. That is how it will work. So if you see, backup entire Windows Linux VMs using backup extensions, or backup files, folders, and system state using the Mars agent. Both ways, full entire VM you are going to take the backup, or uh, with Mars agent you can able to do the backup. This Mars agent will, as I mentioned, this option will work for Linux, means taking entire backup, but this file restoration will not work with the Mars. Okay, Mars agent, it will not work. This is how it will work. And if you see here also, you can see recovery point management, and why we use Azure backup, offload on-premises backup, backup Azure infrastructure as a service VMs, scale easily. Azure backup uses the underlying power and unlimited scale of the Azure cloud to deliver high availability with no maintenance. So these are the like advantages. We can go through each and every one. Why? What is the advantages we are going to get? How Azure protects from ransomware. Even if you want, you can encrypt the backup data also. Generally we encrypt the data which is storing in the VMs or databases, right? But backup we don't prefer to be encrypted, but still if you want, you can encrypt the backup data also. Okay, so these are the like some other options. You can try backup a VM, backup a VM through PowerShell, Azure portal, CLI, different ways. One activity with different ways. Portal one way, PowerShell is having its own commands. CLI means you should have a AZ command line tool installed. ARM template is one way. This way, like multiple ways, you can able to do that. So now what we are going to do, let's go and create a VM over here, and virtual machine. I'll create a Windows machine, because we can use that Mars agent tool also, and resource group. backup RG, and virtual machine name Windows test, and region US region, and here OS I'm going to select Windows 2019, and this is a size I'm going to pick up, and the password, and this is the ports to connect to it. And the next disks, these are managed disks which are attaching premium disks, and default I'm not adding additional disk. So networking, as of now I don't have any VNets available, so it is going to create. If you see what are the name I provided to my VM, the same name with that, it is creating one VNet because I don't have any existing VNets. So let it be. And then management. So here you can see backup, enable backup. So to guard your virtual machine against accidental deletion and corruption, we recommend that you configure backup. Sometimes you get request to delete one server. You might delete another. In real time, there will be hundreds of servers. So virtual machine, if you just wrongly picked up, then unnecessary you'll delete the main important machines. Let's say you deleted production machine. Once you delete it, it's gone. Again, you cannot get it back, right? So if you want immediately, means what you need to do, you need to create the same machine and restore. That is the only option. So enable backup. So now if you see recovery service vault, it is expecting, and this way, if you don't have, you need to create new recovery vault, and it is asking policy. You need to have a policy because simply clicking on backup doesn't work. How you want, how frequent you want to take the backup, daily one time is enough, or daily multiple times you want to take the backup, how all these things needs to be, some policies needs to be set, and that policy you are going to attach it to this VM. And these policies is not same applicable for each and every machine. Each machine, maybe some type of machines may expect some type of policy. Based on that, for example, production policy will be different. For acceptance, sometimes we may no need to take backup every day, or regularly we don't need backups, because backend unnecessary you are maintaining the storage to store this backup data also, right? So based on that criticality of that machines, we are going to take it. So you need to create a policy. So this way also you can get. I am not going to select here. So once I create this machine, later on also I can create these backup policies. So remaining things, I'm going to create next, create. So once this is created, I'm going to configure backup, and in the meantime what I'll do, I'll create one more machine also. Create, and now RG, backup RG, and VM name Windows. This is the name I'm providing, Mars, and where is Windows 2019. Let me quickly provide the credentials, cloud free. And next disks, networking, management. This is also, I'm not providing any backup here, because in this we'll install that manually, that tool, advanced tags, review and create. So machines are getting created. Let's see whether first machine is created or not. So first machine is created, status is creating. We'll try to connect to it, or else not required. uh, One, if you did not configure backup during VM creation, later on also you can able to create the backup. So here in the operations you can see backup. So click on it. This is entire backup of a VM, and if you see here, there is no option to create a select existing recovery service vault. So there is another service called recovery service vault, which is going to have the backup everything. So if you want to create, you can create new or select existing. I did not created anything over here, that's why it is not showing. Automatically it is showing. It gave some name. Okay, or else you want to create, you can create. For example, I'll go to the new tab and I'll show you over there recovery service vaults. If you see the service recovery service vaults, here we can go and create a vault here. So this vault we'll use for the backup. So resource group, I'm going to use backup RG, vault name, uh, Windows backup. This is the name I'm providing, and region is East region, and allow public access from all networks. It is going to create an endpoint, so you want to access it from the public, this recovery vault, or else not required. I want to allow. Next tags, review and create. So this is whatever the vault it gets created, this vault we can use it here. And as of now it is not showing select existing, right? Once I created here, again if I refresh this page, then it will show. If you have your own vault, then select existing one, or else it is providing its own. And if you see policy subtype, this is a policy. If you have your own policy, then choose backup policy here. As of now we did not get any policy also, so we can create our own policy. So if you see standard means once a day backup, daily one type backup, it is possible. And 1 to 5 days operational tier, vault tier, ZRS resilient means zone redundant. If something happens to one zone, still your backup will be available in another zone. Supported for trusted Azure VM. Like when we configure VM, it is showing multiple options. VM, confidential VM, trusted Azure VM. So this is also same, but this is accepting multiple backups per day, and 1 to 30 days operational tier. These are the two differences compared to enhanced and standard. Let's see. Vault is created. So in this vault, you can see backup policies. If you want, you can create a backup policy here. These are the default policies available for. These are two for VMs and this is for SQL Server. You can add your own policy over here. Let's say I'll click on add policy, and for what resource you want to create this policy. Is it for Azure VM or file share or SQL Server in Azure VM? How? So I'm going to select Azure virtual machine, and it is asking you want to go with standard or enhanced. So as of now I'm going with the standard. Policy name, Windows backup policy. This is the name I'm providing, and a frequency daily or weekly it is expecting. So daily at what time you want schedule time, you can give. Mostly we prefer during midnights, 3 o'clock. What are the time zone your data center your belongs to, you select that specific time zone. And instant restore, retain instant recovery snapshots. If the latest snapshot is the only instant restore point available, it will be retained until the next successful backup completes. So you can go with one means, if you mention two, at least a backup it should have a two backups it should be available. Then only you can able to restore. Or else it is not going to accept. It will wait until the next backup is successful. Then only you can able to use that for the restoration. So that's why I provided only one. And retention range. So for how many days you want, once this backup is completed, the backup for how long you want it. So that is the retention period. If you don't want 180 days, you can go with the 30 days. 1 month is enough. After that, erase it everything. And we configured here only for daily, so we don't want it to configure for monthly backup or weekly backup, yearly backup. If you're configuring them, then you can able to configure retention. So if you select retention, then this is also you need to mention monthly backup or monthly, on which day you want to take that backup and for how long you want it. You need to select on first Sunday of every month, this way. Second and the day you need to select. If it is a monthly one-time backup you want to take, you can select this. Same way, weekly one time you want to take, what kind of? For example, weekly once you want full backup, that way you can configure it. So ignore this and create. So once this policy is created, then you can see that vault over here and that policy also here to attach it here. Choose backup policy. As of now, nothing was there. That's why no policies were there, because they are creating a new vault. Inside that new vault, they are applying this policy. So now whatever the policy I created, now again I'll do what? Refresh this one. Windows test backups. Now you see select existing, it got selected automatically, and this is the one which I created. And you can see my policy, Windows backup policy. This is what we can apply, and you can able to policy details, full backup, daily instant restore, whatever the configuration we have done, enable backup. So backup is going to be enabled. Whatever the time zone which we selected, on the time zone it is going to trigger the backup. And if you want to see that, go to the vault. Where is the vault? This is our vault, Windows backup. And where is backup policies by site recovery plans, backup reports. These people always change this. We should have one option called backup jobs. Are they mentioned as the backup items or what? So as of now, you can see Azure Virtual Machine backup item count 1. But apart from that, we should see backup jobs. Where is that backup jobs? Okay, successfully completed. Virtual machines. Go to VM. Here also I don't see any backup jobs, but it should show in the vault itself. Job. Yeah, where it is in the monitoring. Okay, in the monitoring it is available. Backup jobs here. So here you can see how many missions are configured, what are the jobs are running. It is going to be visible here. And view details, the job information, status no results, because we selected some 3 a.m. and some UTC time zone. So at that time it will trigger. If you leave it for, or else you can select Indian time zone if you want, and you can check once you configure. For example, 9:27, right? You can configure it for 9:40 p.m. something like that, and you can test it whether it's taking the backup or not. That is also it's possible. So we configured just like some random time zone and we created it. Once the job is completed successfully, backup is available, then it will show here status. So this is how every machine will be configured, backups and the jobs has been configured. Again, you are going to configure alerts over here, because daily what are the servers are taking to the backup. Based upon the result, you should trigger an email alert that if some job is failed, backup job is failed, because you might be assuming just configuring is not enough, right? Whether backup is happening properly or also not, you need to know it. So you are going to automate emails are going to come whenever if any job is failed or successful. You will trigger an emails. You will keep in your mailbox separately one folder. Everything will be routed to that folder. Daily someone need to go through it. Everything is fine or not. If anything is failed, what is the problem for the job fail? You need to troubleshoot it. This kind of work we will do as an Azure admins. Like what are the alerts you configured, monitoring alerts. If something is wrong, your VMs might be down or something else is problem, a lot of other things will not work. You will get an alerts. Based on that, you are going to work, and some other request will come. Okay, this is problems. Some request will come to create something, configure something like that. So this is about the full backup. Now we'll see how we can achieve this backup by installing this Microsoft Azure recovery server, like how to take backup of single file folder. So we already created one machine, right? Another machine. So log into that machine and connect to it, RDP, and connect with the credentials. Once we connected to this, just we need to disable that firewall for Internet Explorer. So what I'll do, I'll go to the server manager. If you take high-end machine, then this machine will perform quickly, but I took one CPU, I think 3.5 GB of RAM. That's why it is very slow. So go to this local server, and here you can see IE enhanced security configuration. This you make it off, because when we access internet through Internet Explorer, always it will pop up firewall is blocking. So that's why I'll close this one, or else I'll open Internet Explorer and it's me later. Let me go to the Google, download Mars, install the Microsoft. I mentioned download Mars agent, download from here. Okay. Okay, it is getting downloaded. Open file. We'll install this tool. If you have on-premises data center and you have Windows machine, there also you can able to log into that Windows machine and install the software. So I'm installing it. As of now, I'm not providing any information to connect. So once this is installed, we can see one icon on the desktop. So this is a one. So it's got proceed to registration. Later also we can do registration, or else we can click on now proceed to registration, or else just close this one and click on this icon. This icon we got it once the tool has been installed. And here also you can see register server, means as of now you install this tool, but it doesn't know to which backup server it needs to be connected. So who is going to take the backup? For that you need to click on register and you need to provide the credentials, and it is asking vault credentials. So whatever the vault which I created, from there I need to provide the credentials. Where is that vault? This is the one. And now, and when I click on backup, it is asking where is your workload running, Azure, on premises, wherever it is running. So you can select that, and virtual machine. So as of now, what I'll select on premises, and from on premises what you want to take the backup. It is asking like you want to take VMware virtual machine, Hyper-V virtual machine, Microsoft SQL server, what is there in the on-site, like so you need to select, for example, files and folders or virtual machines. I'll select files and folders. Prepare infrastructure. So here also it is providing the same thing, download agent. For you can just right click, copy link, and go to that VM, you can able to create it. If you see download vault credentials to register the server to the vault, vault credentials will expire after 10 days. So select download. So it will download one file. This is the credentials. So right now I'm storing this into my local machine, my laptop. So once this is stored, I need to copy these credentials inside the Windows machine which I created inside the Azure. So here I'm just doing Control C, and here I'll go and where I would like to store in the VM which I created under the downloads. So I copied from my local laptop to the Windows machine which I created. Then the vault credentials, I'll go here, go to the downloads, and this is the credentials. Open. It is checking the credentials, and if you see each region, subscription identifier, vault credential expire in 10 days, which is mentioned. Next, and enter passphrase. So backups are encrypted to protect the confidentiality of your data. To encrypt this, there is going to be a passphrase. So you can just select some password kind of thing, and where you want to store this passphrase. So browse your location, and I want same downloads location. I'm going to select. Saving the passphrase locally does not protect it from corruptions and disasters. Means don't store it in local, store it somewhere else, remote location. Even though if this machine goes wrong, then at least you can have this passphrase. That is what it recommending. Warning message and register. The encryption passphrase for this command is not configured. Encryption passphrase must be at least 16 characters. Okay, 16 characters. Oh, it's only became 30 now. No, 8, 9. Okay, provided 16 characters. You have selected location on these machines to store the passphrase. This exposes your passphrase. Do you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. So now it is going to register with our Azure backup, which is recovery services. Everything is okay, then registration will be completed. Then you can schedule the backup. I think it is done successfully. So we can ignore this warning, but backup is Microsoft Azure backup is now available. This warning is for that passphrase. We can ignore it, close. So this is a dashboard for this VM. Like if you want to configure backup, open that, and you can see a schedule backup now. We can schedule a backup for this VM. And before that, what I'm going to do, I'll go to the C drive, and what I'll do, I'll create a folder, data, and inside that I'll create a file. So assume this is our application data, some information is available. So now trigger the backup, just click on next. So what you want to take the backup, add items to select the files and folders, add items under the C drive. What you want to take the backup, specific folder you want to take, then select this data which I created under the C drive. And if you want specific file also, if you expand this, you can select it. If you don't want specific files, that is also okay. You can take the backup of specific file also here. So file or folders. So I want everything inside this one. Okay. And then next, when you want to take the backup. So now what are the time you want to mention? 4, 4:30, and at following times maximum allowed 3 times a day. So daily 3 times. So we can configure only 1 time is enough. Schedule a backup every day. Next, why 3 times? Because data loss will be very less. In a day, if you are selecting for every 3 hours, then the data loss will be very less. If it is only 1 time during night time, if you take at 3 o'clock, during daytime, if any corruption is happened or VM is been deleted, then the data loss will be huge. The RPO, okay, that will be huge. So that's why you can have multiple times also per day. And again, this is like retention period, for how long you want this, 180 days, 104 days, weekly retention, monthly retention. So we don't want any monthly or weekly retentions are available. Like we don't want to configure monthly backups or yearly backups is not required. Next. So how you want to transfer this one? So transfer using Microsoft Azure Data Box. This, if you remember, we discussed this during the storage class. Means whenever there is a from on-premises to data, your Azure, you want to transfer any data, then if it is a huge data, then you can able to use data box disks. So storage will be sent to your data center, on-premises data center, and it will attach to their machines and copy it, and then again bring those disks to the Azure data center that way. So transfer using my own disk, these all are not only transfer over the network. That is how we want to do it. Next is the information. Finish. Create backup schedule for files and folders. Close. And if you go now here in the Azure portal and we go to the vault, we check the backup jobs. Okay, it is not yet triggered, so that's why it is not showing. We just configured it. So what I'm going to do now, I don't want to wait till some time, right? So you can trigger manually also. Backup now means manually also you can able to trigger. You just trigger backup now. So instead of waiting the schedule time, manually we are triggering backup. What do you want to backup? Files and folders. Next. So like not today, it's taking like yesterday's time, 30. So select this one and now backup. So backup has been triggered. So whatever we scheduled that, we triggered it manually. And now if we go and see here, it should show here the backup job. Generating backup, data transfer is in progress. It may take longer since it is first time it is taking. Data transfer completed 19 MB. So backup job is completed. Basically it should show here. I don't know why it is not showing. Okay, anyhow. So this is how we backed up our data, and just you can go and delete that whatever you have been created. And now if you see here, see data, and just go here, shift delete. Yes, completely deleted. And now if you want to restore, once you have the backup, then you can click on recovery data here, and this server, what are the name of this server, select that server name. And next, individual files and folders, yes, select the volume, because when we selected data drive, that is belongs to C drive. So it is asking oldest available backup is today was the oldest backup, like 416 we took the backup. So newest available, so it is asking this is the RPO. Okay, so yes, the same thing you can practice from your AWS environment also. There no need to be any other VPN, nothing is required. You create one VM, Windows VM in the AWS, feel like that is your on-premises data center, create Windows VM. Whatever we did, same thing, just install this Mars tool inside that VM and create some files. Everything is same. Only the VM is created in the AWS instead of Azure. That's it. No other network connectivity is required. See, if you see here, directly it will not go to the C drive and it will restore the data directory. First, it will give you, it is mounted this, whatever we took the backup C drive, that mounted it as an F drive. From there, whatever you want, you can able to restore. If you see here and go to the PC, if you see, this is an F drive. So here you can able to see the data, whatever it took the backup, and whatever you want, control C and go to the C drive, go to the data, and here you can paste it. Like this is how you can able to restore your data. Once it is done, then you can unmount it. It's like a Linux terminology or Windows terminology, also like mounting a drive, unmounting. Like when you connect a pen drive to your laptop, that is called mounting. Means your pen drive you are mounting to your laptop. So what are the data is inside that pen drive will be available. How your laptop assign one drive data to your pen drive, and then with that drive you are going inside your pen drive and accessing the files. That is called mounting. So here also that recovery, it is mounting some temporary drive, and providing you the backup information. From that, whatever you want, you can able to restore. So this is how you can able to do. Yes, I want to unmount it. Again, if you go and see there, there is no F drive, nothing is there, but you can go and see your data here. So this is how we'll do the backups. Understood? So tomorrow we'll come up with a new topic. Mostly we'll start with the Azure Active Directory, or we'll go with the monitoring. I'll decide. Shiva, you are correct. Like whatever the vaults or storage they are using, you cannot able to connect it. They are using some even backup also using some storage services only backend. Okay. Bye guys. Bye everyone.